Everyone to our every other day IT news and mostly security show here. Breaking news. Actually forgot to roll the intro. Huh? Does that even work? Maybe. Yeah, no, welcome. After the producing here amazing trailers. Also, fun fact, of course, iMovie stuff, but you can't even bugs and features in 2019 of this pre-prepared stuff that you can barely edit. You can't even change the font. So just the other day I wanted to change the font to Proto Molecule, what I usually use here for all my other text in the meantime, but yeah, can't do them. So maybe I need to hack this XML, whatever, but yeah, anyway. 0 frames so far. So a lot of news this week, which is also somewhat hilarious, because if I don't do this streams every other day, then quickly so many news accumulate that it's an hour long, and not even factoring in the Chaos Computer Congress that happened the last days here in Germany. So ignoring that probably is a topic for maybe another stream. But anyway, starting with some good news, because not everything is bad here and insecure. Sometimes also stuff is actually not too bad. Project Connected Home over IP. What is this? Project Connected Home over IP is a new working group that plans to develop and promote the adoption of new royalty-free connectivity standard to increase compatibility. So this is of course with Apple Home and Google whatnot, and also this Philips Hue light bulbs and whatnot. And surprisingly, biggest news here of all of this is that Apple is on board, and apparently it's somewhat a little bit partial open source. So join the effort here, contact them. Also, oh, that is funny. In the meantime, I should have done this earlier. Can't make this up. Earlier, here wasn't the Apple logo. Here was just in Helvetica, also Apple written. Actually wanted to make a joke. You make some standard stuff and you don't even grant the license to have the logo, but here in the meantime. So that was only an early fluke. Anyway, so that is certainly good news, because if you're new to this or my other more main channel, certainly not the greatest fans of Apple stuff anymore. And if people are increasingly still trapped in Apple's reality distortion field, it's certainly not amazing if all the home connected IT stuff only works on iOS devices. So yeah, many people on board, many companies on board, Amazon, Apple, Google, the Zigbee alliance of all people, even IKEA, which nowadays, yeah, 2019, even IKEA has some connected, buggy, most likely, allegedly, probably insecure stuff. Continuing with more good news, 80-core N1 next-gen Ampere QuickSilver, the anti-graviton, of course, the headline here already, buzzwords and marketing stuff. Who raise your hand if you remember what was Ampere, QuickSilver, and graviton, of course, the anti-Amazon, I think here. So the drive or putting ARM into the server space has had its ups and downs. They've seen like Applied Micro, Ampere, Calexter, Broadcom, Cavium, Marvell, Qualcomm, Huawei, Fujitsu, something, Amazon, and even AMD. Also, I actually wonder, back in the day, now that there was also this AMD ARM effort, is there something came? I mean, now with Sen, it's a little bit delayed, just that I totally forgot about that one. Anyway, so yeah, Ampere, technically Ampere Computing, currently on the market with eMac processors, custom ARM cores, whatsoever. So yeah, new product, no marketing name yet here. Product doesn't yet have a marketing name. Yeah, that is a good start. However, also the one thing that ARM on servers need is probably marketing. But anyway, next gen Ampere for now. So it's SOC named QuickSilver, and so a new product on a brand new ground-up design from Ampere. Also, I don't really believe, you've seen this with this RISC-V, usually you don't make a brand new from the ground up, usually you stand on the shoulder of giants. Don't believe such marketing stuff. It just takes way too long to design this from the grounds up. It's vastly revised, but certainly not from the grounds up. But anyway, Other features are exact SKUs to be launched, exact TDPs, exact frequencies, price, going to be disclosed. It's the official release 2020. So yeah, nevertheless, nonetheless, not too much to see, but yeah, something that's on the horizon. But again, we had this in the other previous video. People ask me, but ARM, we will also here on this or the other main channel certainly make some ARM details. We have looked already on RISC-V, MIPS, Spark, PowerPC. Also, we need to take a closer look for ARM for you, maybe to learn some more details. Speaking about ARM and MIPS, Chinese latest Loongson, also I mean it's not Loongson, right? It's Loongson, any name anyway. It's no marketing name there, Chinese name there. Anyway, CPUs are on par with AMD's Excavator, of course, Excavator of some half a decade ago. But the push for Chinese technology autonomy continues. Loongson, of course, an existing MIPS processor that was already used not only in other, maybe potentially supercomputers there in China, but even netbooks. There was some remote or something, netbook thing that might even be used by Richard Stallman. But even this Loongson netbook you don't get easily. I've actually sometimes looking on eBay like once a year, like maybe someone is selling one of this. Of course, totally, it's netbook, right? I mean, it's 700, 800 megahertz MIPS from half a decade or decade ago. Totally not nice, not outstanding performance, just for the sake of YouTube videos. But even on eBay, I think I've never found one of those MIPS netbooks on eBay. Anyway, this new CPU, of course, 100% made in China, 3A4000 and 3B4000 something. And performance is comparable to the AMD 28 nanometer Excavator parts, which launched in 2015. Built on ST microelectronics, they are also fully made in China, based on ST microelectronics. But anyway, 28 nanometer, fully depleted silicon on isolator, FD-SOI, manufacturing process, and equipped with 4 cores, 8 MB L3 cache. But yeah. MIPS, at least in my opinion, maybe ARM performance might be better, but ARM performance might be better just because there was more development and research. But MIPS, as far as I've seen and remember, is a much cleaner design, much more RISC design. We again take a closer look at that another day. Would be really interesting to see if someone in China, not only from the VR CPU, what was even the name? VR, whatever, with AI coprocessor stuff. Someone there at VR or Loongson wants to send a CPU sample to test. Feel free to do so, always appreciated. Information teleported between 2 computer chips for the first time. So yeah, Star Trek like teleportation maybe coming sometime soon or not, maybe not. Anyway, so scientists of the University of Bristol and the Technical University of Denmark have achieved quantum teleportation between 2 computer chips for the first time. The team managed to send information from one chip to another instantly without them being physically or electronically connected, in a feat that opens the door for quantum computation and quantum internet. Amazing stuff. Future is bright, hopefully also more secure. Really interesting how this develops, but honestly, although it sounds amazing, always the marketing and university buzzword sounds amazing, but certainly a decade or 2 or 100 years to come. But please prove me wrong and bring it to market sometime soon. Hypothetically, there is no limit in the distance over which quantum teleportation can operate. So yeah, let's beam to the moon or Mars or wherever. Anyway, let's watch out for this more amazing stuff, because for the next part we mostly have insecurity news. So yeah, certainly appreciated. Because investigating privilege escalation methods in AWS, Amazon Web Services, in 2018. So this is a post relatively new here, 19th of December. But earlier, 2018, Spencer wrote an excellent article about privilege escalation in AWS. And this is a recurring reminder that not all this cloud stuff is super secure, right? So you always need to apply some common sense, and all those vendors are also, we've seen this in yesterday's stream on the other channel, Apple doing Siri AI with regular expressions, and also AWS just the regular Linux kernel. Don't remember were they using Xen or KVM, but they're only cooking with what is the regular open source stuff that everyone is using, so the same privilege escalation, or maybe more depending on custom patches and infrastructure management stuff. So they found those exercises to be very helpful and fully understand the vulnerabilities introduced by certain AWS permissions, and hopefully this example. So they have sorted these 21 methods. So yeah, here 2019-21 walkthroughs. You can refresh your AWS vocabulary with those, with a glossary of relevant terms. And so yeah, there you have it. If you want to get into security research, IT, or just as a regular administrator, a nice overview of AWS privilege escalation methods. In similar news of privilege escalation here, Wyze data leak may have exposed personal data of millions of users, because that is so 2019. Security camera setup, also yeah, security setup right in the cloud, because that is certainly how we are doing it, how we have been doing it in 2019. And please comment below what are your ideas for the future to make this better. Security camera startup blames employee error for weeks-long data leak, because yeah, it's always the employee's fault, because why architecture, employee, architecture or manager, it's always the employee, because they have probably just have done what, or didn't have more time to implement it more precisely. But whatever, sorry, has confirmed suffered a data leak this month, may have led, so also Wi-Fi network, no passwords or financial information were exposed, but email addresses, Wi-Fi network IDs, body matrix. Also wonder, why do they have body matrix? Do they run AI on security camera? It's hilarious. That's our theme of 2019. Anyway, hackers steal data from 15 million patients, then sell it back to the lab that lost it. The new in 2019, hack it and then sell it back. Navarro writes, content audience just use dumb Raspberry Pi and the camera with and do it yourself in favor of having tailored something for network camera. Yeah, also in general, maybe don't put everything in the cloud, and nothing wrong with the personal file server, and also don't connect everything to the internet. And with, do you really need a remote login if you are somewhere else? Maybe stuff can also wait an hour or two, doesn't always need to have instant remote access. It's just ad blocking by moving the stuff out of the way. Canada's biggest provider of specialized laboratory testing services said it paid hackers an undisclosed amount for the return of personal data they stole belonging to as many as 50 million customers. Toronto, Ontario-based Life Labs notified Canadian authorities as of also 2019, also future, not really seeing this going away in 2020, or as much as I wish to say this is so 2019. Unfortunately, I have zero hopes that this is getting any better. So that is why we're doing here this educational stuff, education and awareness. Please try to do your stuff to make this better. And incident response company president CEO Charles Brown said in the statement, including retrieving data by making a payment. Also, maybe you should have backups, right? If you have backups, recurring theme here. If you have a backup, then you don't need to pay hackers. 1 second, need to maybe take a phone call back in. So yeah, sorry for this short real life interruption. Anyway, have your own backups, have your own security, and also there you see, in case of you anyway need to spend the money to buy your data back, And then maybe it is, well, not maybe, definitely this money is better invested in your own infrastructure, because then you have better infrastructure. You anyway now need to secure it and improve security, backup strategy and everything. And so yeah, you only spend more money if you don't do it properly from the beginning. So yeah, I also wish they would more often include how precisely they were hacked. That will also always good to learn what to do better. In similar news, Microsoft Edge, here EUP, probably escalation of privileges via cross-site scripting to potential remote code execution. Also, yeah, Microsoft is using other people's browser, like previously KHTML, then Apple, WebKit, now Google Chrome, of the inheritance of forks there. So Microsoft switching to Chrome just to have the first, certainly because yeah, Chrome and WebKit anyway. Of course, now we have drop frames. Thank you very much for that. Not amazing. I think before we had 0 drop frames. Anyway, so Microsoft had announced previously they will release a Chrome-based Edge browser, Chromium. In the case you didn't know that, it's an open source browser. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. 20th of August announced a new bug bounty program for the new Chromium-based Edge browser. The rules of the program state that only Microsoft's own code will be eligible under this bounty, meaning the attack surface is very small. But to make up for it, Microsoft is offering twice the reward. Also, yeah, fun fact: you base it on other people's code, but then you say, yeah, no bug bounty, no warranty, because yeah, it's other people's open source. We have nothing to do with like. Seriously, what? Yeah, but anyway, the new tabs page, NTP, cross-site scripting, so the new tab page is the first page you see when you open the browser, or open a new tab, of course. There's so many exceptions to that, but speaking strictly with default settings, yada yada yada. So yeah, EOP of potential remote code execution, he got lucky again. Remember, privilege function can be found with Chrome JavaScript object, so exactly what he did, and so on. So yeah, probably a good read if you read here everything. But yeah, taking over the NTP, final proof of concept and video. The reason he used a lot of encoding is due to character limitations as far as domain ID cookie goes. So yeah, apparently there you have it. Even if your attack surface is small, because it's not our code, just please only hack ours to get money here. So yeah, 2019 Microsoft Edge, first week or month or something, or 0 day. Anyway, iPhones, if you wondered, iPhones are so much more amazingly secure, right? Because Apple is saying, hey, we care about your privacy and we do amazing code, but certainly on this channel you probably have learned already that, yeah, obviously not. So new study shows iPhones are 167 times, like not 1, not 2, not 10, not 100, 167 times more likely to be hacked, allegedly, according to this study. Recent study conducted by Case24 released stating that iPhones are 167 times more prone to hacking compared to other brands. The report analyzed monthly data, which was based on the number of users searching for hacked smartphone brands or apps. The company found that over 10,000 people were searching for how to hack an iPhone, while the second most search, also here, security study by analyzing search stuff, but yeah, whatever. With only 700 searches for LG, Sony, Nokia, which also, yeah, less people have, right? But anyway, but people didn't have the same level of interest in hacking those brands. Also, it's mostly ironical. I also wonder, it's a little bit article, to be honest. I just wanted to share this clickbait. Not really sure how serious the study is if you just analyze how your neighbor Googles how to hack your significant other's phone. It's a little bit hilarious, but yeah, it's a little bit funny stuff. I slightly wonder why the stuff even makes it to the news. However, I would think, given the that most high-profile people use an iPhone, it would not surprise me if certainly Also, it is a smaller target, right? If you have so much fragmentation, certainly there are some low-hanging general Android flaws, but if the high-profile targets are using an iPhone, then certainly spend your time hacking this. Speaking about time hacking this, undocumented Catalina file access change here from people, because why should big IT companies publish this stuff themselves? Some app author here, well known, if you drag a file from Finder, sorry, still some cold here in cold Berlin, into the terminal, the full path of the file will open in terminal. The same behavior occurs with copy and paste too. This has also, sandboxing, right? So the complexity of sandboxing, everything is sandboxed and then copy and paste is a challenge, everything basically, and then you wonder why there are more and more hashtag peak bugs on macOS, because also certainly sandboxing. File access privacy protection were introduced in macOS 10.14 Mojave and then expanded in Catalina. Mojave restricted access to directories like library, applications, support address book, Safari, also you get no random notifications for all kind of stuff. You run find in your terminal, you want to allow terminal to access your contacts because it's just recursing into library, whatever. So going to focus on the terminal application located in application utilities. Just kidding, I just wanted to say also recurring, this is also what normal people don't get. We have so many support incidents with error exact scans that people have had, for example, open Apple's preview, and then so many really many support emails of there is a bug in exa code, it doesn't open the preview anymore. When the error is like error 55307 or whatever, application preview failed to launch because just kidding, it has been moved to system application utilities, obviously, because usability at Apple in 2019, it has of course to do with this read-only root volume, but nonetheless, in my opinion, it's a little bit hilarious for the most user-friendly. Anyway, terminal has no special permissions, as you can see in the system preferences. However, we try to list the content of the documents folder. This is also what I mean here. For example, terminal app also 2019, you freaking terminal ask you do their CD, find SED, whatnot, and grep and all the fine stuff, and then you get stupid pop-ups like terminal would like to access your documents folder, but not making this stuff up, just as I said. You press down to allow and you see in document operations not permitted in terminal, and also use UI complexity, all this fun stuff in 2019. Now copy the documents folder and find and paste it in the terminal, and so suddenly it works. Why? Notice that after copying from Finder, the document folder has a new Apple Macal mandatory access control or something extended attribute. The L, he assumes L in Macal stands for lockdown until someone tells him otherwise. This special extended attribute gives terminal and possible other apps special access to the file. The Apple Macal extended attribute, as well as the special file access, is persistent across reboots. Indeed, it remains even if you... So there you have it, 2019 security and sandboxing, and also, but we will certainly, I have my... Well, so not only do I not find the security amazing, security also not, but the usability also not amazing. We certainly in 2020 need to do more operating system research and also talk about this security thing, sandboxing. Is it really worth it? Should everything be sandboxed? But so happy new year also everyone who joined in the meantime, but we certainly give a shout out at the end of the stream again. A couple of new drop frames because it is so 2019. In similar news, apparently also did I not have in English? Anyway, doesn't matter. Apparently Chinese hacking group which attributed attacks back to 2011 have developed a new attack on RSA-Software-Tokens. So apparently RSA had some two-factor authentication in software, Was here somewhere a screenshot? Yeah, so who thought seriously that software tokens, also probably only RSA of RSA, probably the S stands not for security, right? Because who thought software tokens are a good idea? I would even say not even in with Intel, SGX or AMD, whatever that was, T or whatever they call it, secure, whatever. So yeah, software tokens, right, in 2019 or 2000, I don't know. But who thought this is a good idea? Of course it was hacked. It's somewhat hilarious. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, also if you were wondering how secure this is, yeah, of course it was not the most secure, and now we have it in black or in blue on yellowish. In more amazing news, many Kubernetes 2K to-do comments seem to be forgotten, and I mostly have this, so a spoiler alert, in our software we also have quite some to-do comments, in my opinion not the super worst thing, so all of those news here always to be taken with a grain of salt, although I try to do better. We have certainly at Excavator only a very small company, not of the caliber of Apple or Microsoft yet. Working on it. Of course we also have to-dos, and in my opinion not the worst thing. There's often like you need to get something working. Sorry, still have a little bit of cold. You want to get something working, especially reverse engineering hundreds of scanners, and eventually you try this, you try that. Sometimes you don't even have a scanner because we already have 100 scanners in the storage, and you test something with users because only they have some special SKU of some scanner that is behaving slightly different, and then you try, you put there some to do, maybe do this better, do that better. In my opinion also somewhat normal. However, one thing is crazy. So Kubernetes is a big project, not only because it's a big deal, but also in terms of a source code. At the time of writing there are 86,000 commits, also yay, in our T2, also a big project, right? T2 40,000 something commits, because yeah, 2K contributors, 2K open issues, also here state of the art cloud software, 2,000 open issues, 1,000 plus open PRs, 61K stars, whatever. On the GitHub page, SCC counts 4.3. So the biggest news of this actually is also here new web stuff. You mark something and you get stupid pop-ups, rather. Also, so 2019. What is the most crazy thing is this Kubernetes. The biggest shout out is actually not the to-do comments. The much more hilarious shout out, in my opinion, is that Wyze freaking at 4.3 million lines of code of Go code. Apparently, according to this, didn't recently look into this, but the crazy thing is, yeah, 4.3. Why is software so buggy, slow, and not amazing? And each time some security researcher looks into something and finds some exploitable security issue, but yeah, 4.3 million lines of code, no surprise there. And yeah, so they looked mostly on the to-do comments, but yeah, also leave in the comments below. In my opinion, keep it stupid, small, simple. I'm not really sure if I would roll out. How should you trust this code base, right? 4.3 million. You can write a whole monolithic Linux, whole monolithic kernel with drivers in this. What the freaking heck is even going on in 4.3 million lines of code? But so to-dos, to give a quick look out here in the to-dos here, where we are at it already, although not the most important, 2,380 to-dos across 1,200 something files, assigned like 460 to-dos were assigned, like to do something, fix something, 489 to-dos were added in 2019 so far, 860 days is 2.3 years. Also, yeah, you put a to-do and then 2.5 years don't do much. Also, yeah, again, also in our code, I also sometimes, for example, if you compile exact images, there are, just the other day someone made me regarding compiler warnings. In my opinion, I don't care so much about compiler warnings if it's like, yeah, the code looks okay, it is behaving correct. It's just like I'm not actually caring too much that the latest C-Lang or GCC version is warning like, hey, the code is fine, get the freaking heck out of the way. But yeah. Welcome everyone, welcome Glockus also. Happy New Year for everyone again before we say it later anyway, in case you tune out before the end. So Navarro still remembers Linux kernel had less than this, and I guess Linux more useful than the Kuber thing. Yeah, also that's the same for me. We will, of course, in 2020, of course, we will continue with our microkernel research, but we will most likely, because certainly it's a 20% project or 20% YouTube project, so will not be something fancy as Linux. And then I will probably try, just for the kicks of it and to prove a point, maybe we do it so not only microkernel, but as most small, keep it stupid, small, simple as possible. So the most bare minimum, and let's see how far we can get with it. I'm really curious how much we can in 10, 50,000, 100,000 lines of code, how much we can get into it. If we don't implement fancy, whatever, nice stuff, but just the bare minimum, the most minimum needed to be functional and the most minimum needed to be secure. Really curious, because there are so many operating system, certainly GNU herd, all the beasties, and Haiku and other barrelfish and Singularity and whatnot, everything, L4, and there are so many, and it is so much work. So it is, for me, it would actually really be interesting to see how far can you really get with the most minimal code ever. But yeah, those were the days. Christian writes, those were the days, more than 1 million lines of code, year 2Ks. Yeah, so of course, to-dos are committed often. The last one, December the 9th. There's one file with 33 comments and so on and so on. There is another commit. This commit added the most to-dos. They're still in the source at 64. Let's just, to be curious, this file. What does it even? Oops. So to do, okay, there's, say, even new to do. Don't really see, what is it? Don't really see so much. But yeah, is it even the reason? Okay, then not too interesting, then let's move on. Usually getting too long here anyway. The fast mile here. This was new documents and interviews reveal how much time after time the e-commerce giant put speed. All right, well, this is a crazy story. This is about Amazon. E-commerce giant puts speed, profit and explosive growth before public safety. This is also a shout out. Not the greatest fan of Amazon, never have been and never will. And I also probably pro tip for you to maybe a New Year's resolution. If we only buy stuff at Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, then there in another decade there will be many more local companies going bankrupt. The Ryzen, the mini ITX board and the memory I actually sourced at local companies. Not only did Amazon even not have this fancy SKUs, but also in general, if the price is similar, maybe support local companies, because then you have local jobs and tax payments and whatnot. But that big companies, you know, they are already the richest companies, and then they, time after time, apparently do everything like profit maximization and growth over public safety is, of course, extremely disgusting. As they prepared last year's holiday rush, managers at Amazon unveiled a plan to make the company's sprawling delivery network the fastest in the world. Amazon, which ships millions of packages a day to homes and business across the US, had seen a string of fatal crashes involving vans making those deliveries over the previous few years. Improving safety, the plan said, was Amazon's greatest opportunity. The key part of the proposal was 5-day course that would put new drivers through an on-road assessment overseen by an outside organization with 4 decades of experience in driver training, but the defense driving course didn't materialize. So yeah, so 2019, not only internet security, but also public safety. You can't even, companies like Amazon and Apple and stuff. We've seen this voice training at Apple and Google and Amazon outsource to white collar shops that do the voice training stuff. Also, yeah, big mega corporations, they can't even properly employ their people. They don't even care about properly schooling drivers, usually fighting minimum wage, and even if they're forced to pay it, still don't train them, don't give them the proper equipment, and just in general probably don't give too much of 2 cents of some stuff. But anyway, leave me usually in the comments below. I also ordered some other stuff from small companies. Maybe I make a dedicated YouTube video just for the fun of it. So in general, certainly in my opinion, the world would be a better place if we work more together with small people, buy something at small IT companies in your town, or even other creators I ordered. So not only the mathematically knit scarves I ordered a year ago, I ordered other stuff from other, for example, YouTubers, because why not? One closes, maybe show you, and also a phone case, just because why not? Make a video about this one. Certainly better to support other creators and creative people and stuff, and also usually small companies run their stuff much better in terms of backups, and also schooling and training and having a Christmas party and fun stuff like this. Speaking about fun stuff like that, Volkswagen is fighting massive software problems. So if you were wondering how are the big car manufacturers doing in 2019, yeah. ID3 not going so well. Final assembly, apparently they can't install their own software because 2019, they write here, they currently produce them without software installed because they can't even how should they know how to install their own software? They park them at parking places, huge areas reserved, 10,000 of them. Because right now they have problems with the software. So yeah, 2019, software architecture, software infrastructure, big cars, the big mega corporations of car manufacturers can't even install their own software. I mean, also it's like I need a double face palm next. Hey, I can map this to maybe Shift. Hey, I can double map my amazing, also 2019 here, OBS patch upstream. If you were wondering, for my amazing scene selection, 2019 scene selection with Sun copy and paste background foreground keys that otherwise you don't need for anything anyway. I need a double face palm. So yeah, only Volkswagen, or for companies after diesel emission cheating stuff, can develop and engineer an electric car without even knowing how they freaking install their own software. I can't make this up. Speaking about how small companies, in a small company like ours, it would never happen that you develop hardware and software and later you figure how the freaking heck we even install it on it. Can't even make this up better than satire. It is so sad. Speaking about sad, Mazda 3 bug activates emergency brake system for no reasons. Also, yeah, more software in cars, certainly self-driving and rename it, you name it. So yeah, there's a recall for that. Driver assist can help make their trips faster, but sometimes it doesn't. But integrating software decisions into the control of the vehicle can cause, also yeah, Boeing C737, right, Max or whatever that was, problems with the system glitches at the wrong time. According to Mazda, the incorrect programming in the smart braking system can make fourth generation Mazda 3 vehicles to falsely detect an object on the path while driving. Automatically. Also, yeah, self-driving cars in 2020 will be amazing, right? Not seeing pedestrians, probably driving left when they want to drive right and braking when they don't want, and vice versa. Anyway, let's hope for the best, pray a little bit or something of that sort. Anyway, cats being updated. Also, yeah, 2019 software updates were so yesterday. 2019 Hollywood movies not so amazing, so because people don't like it and are even, some say, disgusted. Cats video movie, apparently an update coming for that. An updated version being delivered to cinemas, software. So yeah, 2019 software update rolling out. Apparently in an unprecedented move, Universal is updating its cinematic re-envisioning of the musical Cats with received relatively catastrophic reviews from critics earlier this week, with some improved visual effects. So yeah, already in the first week, movie revision 2. I mean, maybe you should have reviewed your movie before final release, and that's like software testing, right? It's not like movie testing. And next, insiders tell trade publications, The Hollywood Reporter, that the studio released an updated version of a movie. They also claim that the Cats patch is being pushed by director, what the heck, I think they added more 4 or whatever. some cats look too naked, or I don't know what, something of that sort, not really into it. Anyway, yeah, so 2019 software update for your movies. So Navarro writes, as long as it's POSIX and hardware works, don't even care what the kernel looks like. Christian writes, I knew everything I wanted to know from Volvo demonstrating their auto-stop feature and drove over the news reporter. Yeah, that is sad stuff. In similar news, sad stuff, the future is cashless, right? And so not only with e-payment, wireless, near field, whatever, electric e-payment, whatever, of course, you can, 1 second. Speaking about small companies, software calling, like, oh, I reached someone. It's, yeah, why do you call if you didn't expect to reach someone? Anyway, they come back, sorry for the interruptions at this when you are alone in the office. Anyway, so yeah, in Germany, of all countries, at Christmas, huge scale breakdown here of payment systems. Just at Christmas shopping also, yeah, 2019, even during Christmas shopping, the worst thing you probably want as a retailer is your payment stuff doesn't work. Also, actually, fun fact, I just was here around the corner, brought some stuff for New Year. Also, the cash register totally slowed down, and it took like forever. Just buying some pancakes here for Christmas, here, this Berliner thing. And the person at the cash register says, yeah, maybe you go to another cash register. I said, no, I'm in IT. I watch your cash register failing. Anyway, took over 10 minutes. This cash register totally slow. Yeah, 2019, even cash registers, totally slow piece of garbage. They had to call someone and IT and reset and back and forth. And even at the end, then even their payment, electric payment didn't work. This is, of course, a systematic issue, right? That even for the most vital payment systems, we cannot get security or stability right. It's, of course, yeah. And beside everything can be metadata tracked, right? So also, as much people want like easy whatever, I find paying with cash actually not too bad. And also it can't systematically large scale metadata tracked, just some sort. Anyway, in similar news, right, we had this in the last news, if you're a recurring subscriber here. So many police station next door, the court next block, the government previously, another university, some hospital, some cities there, even some, was it California vehicle registration, something management system with ransomware and whatnot. The next thing is down due to apparently cyber something here, ransomware, you name it, Maastricht University. If you thought this is a Californian or Berlin or German whatsoever, yeah, certainly not. Or actually in this previous news, this laboratory that was hacked and data stolen and whatnot. So yeah, another university, maybe also, yeah, this is why I'm not making this stuff up just like for me, how it is getting increasingly depressive to even work in IT with everything broken. Apple peak bugs, macOS peak bugs, Linux kernel out of bounds, left and right, virtualization here and there, stuff, even certainly Windows much more insecure. Also monoculture, right? Just like monoculture of a forest, and you have some bugs there eating all the trees and or on the fields. The same for Windows installations there, recurring shout out of maybe that is not the best idea and why I turned to this YouTube format. And speaking about this, Italy follows France in levying a digital tax, also that certainly what outraged Trump there of sanctions. Also, yeah, this is also 2019, right? Sovereign states of Europe like France can't even make their own digital tax, and without getting sanctions from, it's like 2019, the American president speaking about France, who have certainly their right to make taxes how they want if they feel for their country. Certainly France doesn't make tax for the USA. So getting sanctions of whatever goods from France, of wine and cheese. I mean, it's also hilarious, right? You make a digital tax. Also, what has the president of America to do with if in France they want for their schools and streets and kindergartens and whatnot, want a tax for this? Also, it's also not. It's a symptomatic issue, right? So first, the big American mega corporations avoided taxes all over the world. Like Apple allegedly paid like 1% or 0.7 or what it was in Ireland there. Not even in France, right? They route all their. Do you think the mega corporations pay tax in Germany and France? No, they route everything through Ireland and pay there a 0.8 or whatever tax that was. And then when France said after a decade, so not like after 1 year or 2 years, France says enough is enough, now we digital tax here this stuff, then is even an outrage of how can you do this? It's like, yeah, maybe you should also have paid your fair share of taxes, more than zero or something the previous decades or so, but yeah, anyway. In similar news of the American president, how to track your president, the New York Times, I'm not really sure if I had a shout out. So many insecurity news, so much happening, can't even have a shout out here of everything. But maybe I hadn't. There was this project, privacy something here. What was it even? Maybe we see it here. Anyway, so they got somehow the metadata of lots of cellular stations in the United States. And so not only could you track there many individual people, even certainly by tracking where they went, like most likely where they're living, certainly isolate individual people, and of course the president, right, or their secret service. So in an even, every move is logged and tracked. Also, why do I say this? Of course, not only making joke about this joke, but everyone, right? So that does not even affect this, but also each and every one of us being tracked with cell phones walking all over the place. But so no one is beyond the reach of this constant digital surveillance. Not even the president of the United States. Also, yeah, if you have an unsecured iPhone, because I don't need a secured phone, right? Because iPhone is fine, right? Who would hack an iPhone? No one is beyond the reach of this constant. So not even, yeah. Okay, we had this. So they had this project, the Times. So this privacy project, it was named, obtained a data set of more than 50 billion locations. Also, yeah, 50 billion, right? Pings from phones. It's only pings of like, hey, connecting to the space station. And of course, you can track individual people, right? A single dot appeared on the screen. Also, yeah, the president, right? There's not so many people sitting constantly in the White House. So a prime target certainly for that, right? President's entourage at 7:10 a.m. lingering around the grounds of Prince Mar-a-Lago. Also, yeah, if you do all this shady business, maybe you should not be tracked with phones. Just a pro tip. But yeah, then it was on the move. So yeah, also 2019. But yeah, allegedly, apparently, but you didn't hear this from me. Nice way to track people. Travel to the Transnational Golf Club in Jupiter, 30 minutes. Also, yeah, 2000. I mean, this is crazy, right? The state security of East Germany. It would be their wet dreams, and nowadays, yeah. You just put some cellular trackers here and there in some bush and tree and stay until one something, move to Trump International Golf, West Palm, whatever. Not a paid advertisement here. Phone was back to Mar-a-Lago because, yeah, where else should he hang around the whole day and have fun on his iPhone? Had what is called a work dinner with Mr. Abe, so other, and so on. Yeah, so yeah, if you were wondering, am I over dramatizing here the dataset metadata tracking, then yeah, you can track quite some people here, as you can see here, nicely visualized. If you have any thoughts and comments about this and why I increasingly envision a more secure future, because basically everywhere where we are looking into, also all this base stuff not secured, right? Maybe all this base protocol stuff should also be secured. But even then you could still certainly hack into the base stations and whatnot. Hope you learned something. I think this was the accumulation of this overdue IT news shoutout, certainly the last live stream of this year. I hope you enjoyed this quick presentation. If you have any comments, what we can do better, what are your ideas how to create a new, more secure future, more stable, less hacked, less ransomware, less malware, less viruses. Leave me in the comments below what are your ideas or comments to the state of the nation here, state of the union. Thank you so much for tuning in and reviewing here this news together. Always happy to read your comments. That being said, the last live stream for 2019. Hope to see you soon for 2020. Wish you all the best, health, success, and certainly more security. Hope you share, like, and subscribe, and you tune back in a couple of days or something like that in 2020 when we continue with IT security, but also writing new code, exploring new possibilities, and certainly 2020 finally the time in our 20% exa code research setup here of writing more low-level code and seeing how far we can get most minimal, trying to, without all the fancy stuff, without millions of lines of code, because certainly this, nobody can review this, nobody can trust this, see how far we are getting. Anyway, that's it for this year. Again, Happy New Year. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you and your families are all doing well, and I hope to see you soon back in 2020 for all the next videos and live streams to come. Always need to leave the streaming level running. If I just press N, then the stream is always cut. Also here, live streaming in 2020 or live streaming in 2019. If you don't leave a pause in the beginning and at the end, then the stream is clipped. So yeah. See you soon next time.